A from Department of Commerce and Management Studies, Andhra University, Visakhapatnam. Sir, kindly grace the dais, sir. I request our student Shivashankar to honor him with a floral bouquet. Sir has put in more than 35 years of university level PG teaching at both MCOM and MBA, and has guided more than 30 PhDs and MPhils and 300 MBA projects. He's a recipient of the Best Thesis Award, Gold Medal for Pioneering Research Work. He's elected as President of the Indian Accounting Association. He served as General Secretary of IA for more than 20 years, and served as President of Commerce and Management Studies, and served as the advisory member of the Indian Council for Business and Education, Bangalore. Now I have deep regard and respect in inviting the Vice Principal of University College for Women, Koti, our beloved Professor Prashantatma ma'am, to come out to the dais. I request our student Vasanti to welcome her with a floral bouquet. Ma'am has done her MCOM, MPhil and PhD, and she specializes in the area of accounting and finance. She's got more than 24 years of teaching experience. She's got more than 43 publications to her credit, and she's a JRF UGC National Merit Scholarship winner, and she's got a gold medal for the best paper presented at the 61st All India Commerce Conference. And today I think it's her turn to judge the paper presenters around. And with deep regard and respect, we invite to the dais CMSCA, KCH, AVS and Murthy sir, practicing chartered and cost accountant. I request a student Priyanka to welcome him with a floral bouquet. Sir is a fellow member of ICAI, fellow member of ICWAI, and is a chartered accountant in practice, a partner in Murthy and Prasad and Company. And in the firm, he's been dealing with various operating areas like auditing, accounting services, taxation, company law, secretarial service, and other services. Thank you, sir. Now it's my turn to invite my friend, the Additional Controller of Exams for Commerce at the UG level, Dr. Indrakanti Shekhar, will be the moderator for the session, rapporteur for the session, I'm sorry. I request our MCOM IA student Rajesh to welcome him with a bouquet. He's worked in Vizag for 6 years in a government college, and it's more than 9 years at the Department of Commerce. He was served earlier at Koti Women's, and now he's with the Department of Commerce. I request the members to conduct the proceedings. Ma'am, to start with.
Organizers, Naresh and Lakshman, for giving me this opportunity to stand before you. And I am too happy to meet my old friends like Murthy, Durga Prasad and others. And since I am the president of the Indian Accounting Association, probably it attracted them to call me. Anyhow, it's a great chance for me to chair yet another session. Probably I have chaired more than 100 sessions in different national and international conferences. And of late I am not going anywhere, moving very little, but still I made it a point to visit this place now on the occasion of Professor Achalapathi's Subramanian. So I pray God Achalapathy will have many more books from his hand after retirement peacefully, without any disturbance, and he will be more devoting towards research as usual. And he was my friend for the last 30 years. So that made me to fly to Hyderabad, though I am not in a position to travel freely. And coming to the conference, Frauds and Capital Markets in India. So in the morning, several dignitaries given us a variety of framework for the fraud as a concept, fraud as a practice, and preventive measures for fraud. And the usage of the word fraud itself is looking something bad. But there are good things and bad things, and we are all advised by our parents and teachers to do the good things, but we are always attracted towards the bad. And why people skew towards the bad things? Why not they stick to the good things? That is a behavioral question, and people always will have opportunities to do both the things. And what our ethics and Upanishads say, if there is something that you know it is bad, you should always avoid, control, and also control others to avoid that at any cost. If you cannot do that, you take the support and mobilization from like-minded people to control the bad events. This is a famous saying, and the frauds or bad things happen either because of our own kith and kin or because of others. It should not make any difference in taking action. Like Arjuna said, they are all my elders, my teachers, my relatives. How can I kill them? Lord Krishna says, follow dharma. Whether he is your kith and kin or not, observing dharma, the code of conduct, is a superior way of living and style of living. So he took Krishna to convince Arjuna toward the whole Gita. At last, Arjuna was convinced. So why I say, we are inherited with such many rich things. If we follow at least 1% of them, I think we can control frauds in a better fashion. Particularly in capital markets, frauds will not happen by themselves. People are compelled to do these things because future expectation is one way of behavior in capital markets. By expecting gains, either in speculation or in investments, people will strengthen their holdings. If their expectation is not true or working negative, what they will do? They have to resort to something or the other. When the investor is given 10 times exposure to his margin, suppose if he puts 1 lakh, he is allowed to trade up to 10 lakhs. It's because of a variety of reasons, either because of the Indian reason or outside reason, or some country declares war against some other country, and that will affect our Sensex in India. These are all, unforeseen conditions for which things the markets will collapse. And when the market collapses, this fellow who got 10 times exposure, what he will do? Like that, crores, several hundreds of crores of exposure will be there throughout the country, in the hands of the fund managers. What they will do? And funds also borrowed from banks and other agencies. What they will do? So they are compelled to behave in a deviated fashion than the normal behavior of investment. So there people are captured in frauds. So when they are captured in a fraud, to protect themselves, they will commit further frauds. Escalation of the degree of fraud. So this is how our capital markets are suffering from a long time, whether it is Harshad Mehta or Catherine Parikh, or there are so many events. There are only 2 stray events reported in the newspapers. And even small investors who are doing with 5 lakhs, if he is meeting with 4 lakhs loss, in his own way, he will try to mobilize. He will try to protect himself. But ultimately, the small investors are the victims. The large investors, their funds may be mobilized. Suppose a mutual fund manager who is having 1,000 crores at his disposal, that is not his money. That is the money of about 1 lakh investors. And when his 1,000 crores value comes to 200 crores, next day he will declare a net asset value to that extent. And personally, he will not lose anything. So major events are being perpetuated by the decisive people in the market, the main market participants. We have theory, efficient market hypothesis, the degree of information available and the degree of efficiency of the investment decisions. And that theory is to be rewritten. Negatively also, if it is working, then the impact is many times. And people are captured in the process, in the frauds. This is purely in the equity trading and trading in the markets. And capital market frauds are not limited to this. People who mobilize public money and siphon that is one kind of fraud. And siphoning also, initially they will not have an intention of pure siphoning. What X will do? Yeah, I have 10,000 crores. Suppose I invest in real estate. By the year end, I may get 30,000 crores. I can adequately reward my investors. That was his premise. But very occasionally, real estate also falls. And there, some entrepreneurs are caught. And very big frauds are reported there. Sachem is not far from that kind of fraud. Ramalingiraju do not have any fraudulent intention in the beginning. If I read the books in between, he was caught. Again, there is another influence of political dimension. Further, he was in problems. So, in spite of that, our legal structure, our regulatory structure is so great, one of the strongest in the world. Even US regulatory structure is not that strong. And our regulatory structure, our legal structure, never left anybody untouched who are doing frauds. And when world markets are falling like anything, our Indian market stood for its quality. So there are plus points and also minus points in our capital market. And as future financial consultants, our commerce students and scholars, as future researchers, we should always sell the idea of cultivating good financial health condition in the capital market. With these few remarks, I hand over my mic to the dynamic lady Prasanthi for her comments. That will be followed by a keynote address and then paper presentations. And all the presenters, please keep in mind the time factor. Of course, I crossed my time limit. President will not have a time limit.